person I have is Michele Salmon.
Michele Salmon, Brisbane resident. Actually, Chris Nagano mentioned Larry Orsak, and if you look through your packet, Larry Orsak sent you a letter on January 6th, and he said, this, more than anything, explains why the EIRS regards the Sphaea callippi is no longer adequate for managing changes around its surviving habitat. So Larry is also weighing in on this. I just want you to be aware of that. And I have a slideshow that will run concurrently. I talked about conflicting information in the published reports.
How long is it, Michele?
The slideshow is 3 minutes, and what I have to say is about 6 minutes, and I believe...
I got 3 minutes.
Okay.
3 minutes.
I talked about conflicting information in the published reports. The Longcore reports would not even exist if the data was solid. Chris Nagano could not even get consistent verbal testimony last time about the habits of the Callippi silver-spot butterflies because he doesn't actually know. That was obvious with how many times he said, I think, these animals, they will fly where they fly, until he was prompted by Kay Goody to say, I think they can fly through that area. He was much more positive tonight about what he thinks he knows because he's been well coached. On the reports, the problem I brought up about the bad math and averages, the Callippis, that's the problem with a lot of these reports. It's here in San Francisco, the average temperature is 57.1 degrees, and in Austin, Texas, in Amarillo, Texas, it's 59.6 degrees, and that's not very much difference, and that's the result of averaging. Last time we talked about the dangers of PG&E transmission lines. That is why Brookfield Homes, or actually Southwest Diversified, gave up Callippi Hill. It's because of the transmission lines, not because of the Callippi. Let's be really, really clear on that. And right now, now that we know the dangers of PG&E transmission lines, houses on Lily Court are still less than 1 kilometer from high-voltage transmission lines, and new houses are planned to be built near high-voltage transmission lines again. Last time I talked about the quote from E.O. Wilson, if you save the living environment, you will save the physical environment, but if you only save the physical environment, you will surely lose the living environment. This is the fundamental flaw with the current and planned manifestation of the HCP. It seeks only to protect the physical environment for the listed species without complete understanding of the living environment. In this specific case, that would be the actual needs of the Callippi silver-spot butterfly. If the Callippi would or could fly like the reports want to suggest they will, or like Fish and Wildlife hopes they will, then the Callippi will still be on Icehouse Hill, but they're not. The physical environment's been preserved, but in our audacity, we have somehow changed the living environment to the exclusion of the Callippi silver-spot on Icehouse Hill. We don't know why. If U.S. Fish and Wildlife is correct in their guess, the Callippi will be able to fly over Crocker Industrial Park and through the housing development and over Guadalupe Canyon Parkway and Carter Street and the eucalyptus and the scrub, and all will be just fine. And the silver spot will live on and on as long as we have money to continue to weed their home and count their numbers. And if these experts have guessed wrong and we somehow change their living environment to their own exclusion, the Callippi will decline even more dramatically than they already have until their populations are gone, below sustainable levels, and they will disappear from our world forever. We will have saved the physical environment. There is Callippi Hill, all green and lovely and bare. But the living environment, the one that actually supported the Callippi, it's gone. We created jeopardy and lost yet another species. But hey, don't worry. Our Callippis were a small sacrifice for the greater good of the service, can do protecting other endangered species all across the country with new and improved HCPs and better funding. We have plenty of other butterflies, lots of other kinds of Callippis under the service's protective jurisdiction. And look, we have this cool open space that looks green and is fun to hike and bike across, and a new gymnasium. What a fine bargain for our children. Why are we guessing about this? If U.S. Fish and Wildlife is right, then let them prove it with a new EIR. This project will jeopardize the survival of the Callippi. And don't even think for a second that this is just about the butterfly. It is about our people and our fate, and the butterfly is just a harbinger of our own future. And if that's not enough reason, you need to think about all the other things that are wrong up on the ridge. The construction defects, the massive erosion, the unmitigated and poisonous carcinogenic power lines, and everything else. And if those things, honest, we need a new EIR, and I don't know what else I can tell you except do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Michele.